What's up, DS3 TV? Welcome back to the channel, and I know you can see some new things, especially this nose ring right here. Got that last Saturday, and yeah, it was pretty nice, and pretty nice, pretty fun to get. But yeah, I would say the experience was like a 4 out of 10. But besides that, got a new job, so I'm doing that. And thank you guys for 800 subscribers. We're like 815 subscribers right now, so that's completely insane to me. Thank you for that again. I can't even fathom that number, so that's really insane. But yeah, we're probably just gonna have one reaction video today because kind of tired. But yeah, we're gonna watch Apollo Program Part 2. One Giant Leap. We watched the first one already. Probably when this series is over for Apollo, I'll probably make a playlist for that. I still need to make a playlist for Napoleon Marshalls. So yeah. Also, follow me on Twitch. My Twitch is down in the description down below. Just another reviewer. It is basically depending on the day, we do whatever, and some days it's gonna be like a reaction videos where I just look up videos to react to, and we might go down some rabbit holes, so do something kind of like that because I actually like that idea. I've been watching a lot of Moist Critical and kind of like watching a lot of obscure content, so yeah, we might do that on stream when I get the chance. Maybe I might stream tomorrow. That'll if I do, that will be scheduled, but it will be probably like really late tomorrow anyway, because I have work. But yeah, so if I stream, it's gonna be like really late tomorrow, and yeah, we'll probably play some Valorant, probably watch some YouTube videos. And yeah, like just have some, real good fun. And yeah, let's get into it. And let's watch this video. Let's watch part 2 on the Apollo program from Epic History TV. Link will be down in the description for the original video, so if you want to watch it on there, you can. And also subscribe to the channel. I want to get 1,000 subscribers by my birthday. Looks like we could get it way before then, but I wanted to set it by my birthday, and yeah, September 13th, and it's looking pretty good that we might get it. So yeah, I'm gonna have to think about what I want to do for 1,000 subscribers, for you guys, because I know you guys deserve something for it. And yeah, so let's get into it. And also probably if I do live stream, it's gonna be like it's gonna be when the video starts, like it's gonna say something like I'm live streaming tonight at, I don't know, 10 Central Time or whatever. So yeah, you're gonna see it. It's fine. All right, let's get into it and play.
(1961), at the height of the Cold War between the United States and the Soviet Union, cosmonaut Yuri Gagarin became the first man in space. Just weeks later, the United States launched its first astronaut, Alan Shepard.
5 cabin, oxygen go, all systems are go.
He was welcomed home as a hero, but President John F. Kennedy knew that if the United States was to overtake the Soviet space program, it needed a bolder mission.
I believe that this nation should commit itself to achieving the goal, before this decade is out, of landing a man on the moon and returning him safely to the Earth.
That's insane that he thought of this, and think about it, nobody had even been that far out. That's insane to think about.
As Kennedy addressed Congress, the United States had just 15 minutes of human spaceflight experience. No one knew if a moon landing was even possible, let alone in just 9 years. It would be an unprecedented engineering and scientific undertaking, marked by heroism and tragedy. the incredible task of landing an astronaut on the moon would be known as the Apollo program. The Apollo program had been rocked by the tragic death of Apollo 1 astronauts Gus Grissom, Ed White and Roger Chaffee. But it had recovered with the brilliant success of Apollo 7, the first crewed test of the Command and Service Module. And in 1968, after 7 years of intense research and development, NASA had flown 3 astronauts 240,000 miles from home and into lunar orbit. Apollo 8 flew within 69 miles of the moon's surface, but crossing that final gap would be the greatest challenge of the Apollo program. It would require a completely new and untested type of spacecraft, the lunar module. This video is sponsored by CuriosityStream, home to thousands.
As I skip through this ad, I do want to tell you that actually my a career that I wanted when I was growing up was a career that I wanted when I was growing up was to be an astronaut. So yeah, that's kind of interesting that I've always been interested in like space and stuff like that. So that's probably one reason why. But yeah, the reason I would say I never followed through with that is because, one, I'm not good at math, so that probably wouldn't be the best field for me to go into. Second, from what I've heard, that you can't wear glasses and be an astronaut. Like, you can't wear glasses or contacts and be an astronaut. You have to like have 20/20 vision, and yeah, that kind of put me out of commission right there. So yeah, because I've had glasses since I was I was 6. So yeah, that kind of put me out of commission.
In this video.
Looking back, we were the luckiest people in the world. There was no choice but to be pioneers, no time to be beginners. Wow.
In the wake of Apollo 8's daring journey to the moon, Apollo 9 received much less public attention. The mission wasn't even going to leave Earth orbit. But within the astronaut corps, the first crewed flight of the lunar module was seen as an even more exciting challenge. The mission's commander, Jim McDivitt, had actually turned down the chance to fly to the moon on Apollo 8, choosing Apollo 9 instead. Like many Apollo astronauts, he was a former test pilot, and this was a chance to test a brand new flying machine.
2, 1, 0. Liftoff. We have liftoff at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Before the test flight of the lunar module could begin, the crew had a challenging docking maneuver to perform. The lunar module was folded inside the upper stage of the Saturn V rocket and needed to be extracted using the Command and Service Module.
Roger, Houston, we're about 25 feet now on the closing board. All right, Houston, we're hard back. Good go.
Leaving Command Module pilot Dave Scott to fly the CSM, McDivitt and lunar module pilot Rusty Schweikert climbed aboard and undocked. The lunar module was the first true spaceship designed only to fly in the vacuum of space. Its insect-like body was designed without the constraints of aerodynamics, but every panel, bolt and button had to be as light as possible, so the craft could lift itself off the moon's surface. McDivitt said that it looked like cellophane and tinfoil put together with scotch tape and staples. He gave his craft the call sign Spider. Unlike the command module, Spider did not have a heat shield, so it would burn up if it tried to re-enter Earth's atmosphere. So, if the astronauts couldn't redock with the command module after their test flight, they would have no way of returning home. But Spider's test flight went perfectly. McDivitt and Schweikert flew the lunar module over 100 miles from the command module. They tested the ascent and descent engines and returned for a safe rendezvous. The lunar module was ready to fly to the moon. NASA had successfully tested both the command module and lunar module and made a trip around the moon. Many hoped the next mission would attempt the first moon landing. But NASA needed more experience in communications and tracking two separate spacecraft in lunar orbit, plus the challenges of rendezvous and docking in the moon's weaker gravity. And there was another critical unknown. In 1968, NASA scientists discovered that the moon has a highly uneven gravitational field. This is caused by huge lumps of high-density material in its crust, known as mass concentrations, or mascons, which could exert an uneven pull on a spacecraft and throw it off course. Before it was safe to attempt a landing, NASA would need to learn more about the mascons by examining their effect on another Apollo flight. Apollo 10 would be a dress rehearsal for the first landing attempt, flying every part of the mission except for the final descent to the surface. The Apollo 10 crew was Commander Tom Stafford, Command Module Pilot John Young, and Lunar Module Pilot Gene Cernan. All three men were veterans of the Gemini program, and with 5 missions between them, they were the most experienced crew ever sent into space. Stafford and Cernan flew the lunar module to within 9 miles of the moon's surface. Their successful flight proved every phase of the mission, except for the final descent. Now, everything was in place. It was time to attempt the landing. Apollo 11 would be commanded by Neil Armstrong, a brilliant engineer and test pilot. Early in his NASA...
And I think everybody knows who Neil Armstrong is. No need to... I didn't know he went to Purdue. Oh, that's interesting. Okay.
career, he'd flown the experimental X-15 rocket plane up to an altitude of 207,000 feet, at speeds of almost 4,000 miles per hour. When he joined the space program as part of NASA's second astronaut group, he was one of the few astronauts to be offered a command on his first mission, Gemini 8. Gemini 8 achieved the first docking of 2 spacecraft in orbit. But the mission almost ended in disaster when a faulty maneuvering thruster caused the Gemini capsule to spin wildly. Armstrong's calm and swift piloting brought the spacecraft under control, and although the mission was cut short, he'd proved his almost superhuman ability to remain calm under pressure. Joining him as lunar module pilot was Buzz Aldrin. A graduate of MIT, Aldrin wrote his doctoral thesis on piloting techniques for orbital rendezvous, and had an extraordinary understanding of...
And I would argue to say that he's probably the second most known pilot. The second best known astronaut. Because I feel like everybody does know Buzz Aldrin also. That was the reason why Buzz Lightyear was named Buzz, because it was actually supposed to be for Buzz Aldrin. Like that's where Buzz Lightyear got his name from Toy Story. So yeah, that's another thing. Well, that's another way that I found out. And also, I think I found it out maybe I want to say about 5 or 6 years ago that I found that out. So yeah, that was pretty interesting to learn.
Orbital mechanics. He'd proven his expertise on Gemini 12. When the spacecraft's rendezvous radar malfunctioned, he was able to compute the orbital maneuvers himself and guide the capsule to a successful docking with an unmanned target rocket. The command module pilot was Michael Collins. He would remain aboard the command module whilst Armstrong and Aldrin descended to the moon. He had no regrets about his assignment, telling reporters that he was going 99.9% of the way there, and that was fine with him.
I mean, hey, that's good. I mean, you know, it would suck if he did have regrets about it.
But years later, he would recount his greatest fear, that Armstrong and Aldrin would be stranded on the surface, leaving him to travel back to Earth alone. The 15th of July, 1969. Almost 1 million people were gathering at Cape Kennedy to watch the 3 astronauts fly to the moon. But not everyone was there to celebrate.
A rat done bit my sister Neil with Whitney on the moon. Her face and arms began to swell, and Whitney's on the moon. I don't even know what that sentence even means. That sounds like something that needs something grammatically to fix it. I don't know.
As launch preparations were made, around 150 people, mostly African American mothers and their children, arrived at Cape Kennedy to protest the launch. They were led by the Reverend Ralph Abernathy, who had succeeded Dr. Martin Luther King as leader of the Southern Christian Leadership Conference after King's assassination the previous year. Their message was simple. It was inhuman to spend billions of dollars sending men to the moon, while 1 in 5 Americans lacked proper food, shelter, and health care.
I mean, it also is inhuman to send people to war for billions of dollars of oil. And like, I mean, I feel like this is just let people have their fun, honestly. Like, I don't feel like that this is bad. I mean, you know, I usually agree, you know, like I agree with what they were saying, but it's like, you could just not, like, forget it. It's not going to change anything. They already spent the money. The money is already spent, and you can see the rocket there. Like, I don't understand at this point. What are you trying to do? Like, the rocket's already there. You should have stopped this. You should have tried to protest the spending when they were trying to make the rocket. They already made the rocket. You can't do anything about this now. It would be a waste to let that go. To let that go to waste, honestly. My gosh, I don't understand what's with the whole late reaction to this, because you see the rocket right over here. What do you mean?
NASA Administrator Thomas Paine met with the protesters the evening before the launch. He told Abernathy that if we could solve the problems of poverty by not pushing the button to launch men to the moon tomorrow, then we would not push that button. Their terse meeting resolved nothing, but
I mean, you realize that, yeah, because like, you realize it's not going to solve anything, right? NASA doesn't have anything to do with NASA's budget that they have for spending has nothing to do with what Congress has. Like, you should be marching on Congress. I'm sorry to go into a political rant, but you should be in front of the Congress building and marching in front of it. Why would you march in front of the Space Center? What is NASA gonna do to help you? I'm sorry. I guess I'm just very irritated by that point. Like, what do you? It's a performative activism that I don't like about this, because you're not doing anything. You weren't doing anything. It doesn't make sense. Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King would have never done this, because it doesn't make any sense. It's performative action. You're not doing anything for NASA. They're not having any racial problems at this moment. Stop. Like, that's not the problem that you're dealing with. You're saying that you need more, that you feel like more money should be going to less poverty, like with, you know, people with that are in poverty, which does make sense. But take that up to Congress or in the treasurer, whoever takes care of the money. Like, you can't do that. Like, that's not something that's stupid. I'm sorry, that's just a stupid thing. I've never seen that before. This man right here is excuse me. From this is the first time I'm hearing of him, and I don't like him. He seems very stupid. Like, for lack of better words, he just sounds nonsensical. Why would you get people to protest this here? It doesn't even make any sense.
It ended with a handshake and a promise by Abernathy that he would pray for the safe flight of the astronauts. The following day, 10 of the protesters were invited into the VIP stands to watch the launch of Apollo 11.
Nine. Ignition sequence start. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. All engine running. Liftoff. We have a liftoff. 32 minutes past the hour. Liftoff on Apollo 11.
4 days later, on the 20th of July, Armstrong and Aldrin climbed into their lunar module, call sign Eagle, and began their descent to the lunar surface.
Eagle has wings.
Years of hard work and training had led to this moment. The descent to the lunar surface would test their skills to the very limit. Back on Earth, in Houston, Texas, the staff of Mission Control watched as Eagle passed behind the moon for a final time. They monitored every system in both spacecraft and guided the astronauts through the complex flight plan. And the success of the mission was about to rest on the shoulders of 26-year-old guidance officer Steve Bales.
1202, standing by. 1202.
The master alarm sounded in the lunar module cockpit. Eagle's guidance computer was trying to tell the astronauts that something was wrong. Its simple display showed the numbers 1202, but neither Armstrong or Aldrin knew what this meant.
Reading on the 1202 program alarm.
Flight director Gene Kranz was seconds away from calling an abort. He turned to Bales for answers. 1202 meant the guidance computer was overloaded. It had too many tasks to complete in its computing cycle, and was dropping some in order to continue functioning. Without a working guidance computer, the astronauts would have to abort. But the alarm wasn't sounding continuously. This meant that most computational cycles were being completed properly. Bales decided that as long as the problem was only intermittent, the landing could continue.
We're going that flight. If it doesn't reoccur, we'll be go.
That's kind of okay. I guess I could see how that would work. You know how that would work out too, because you're like, okay, it's not like repeatedly doing it. So I mean, it could, the flight could still work in that case. But that's definitely a sketchy one, because it's definitely two people's lives you have in your hands. Like if that doesn't go right, and obviously it did, but wow.
But then another problem. The lunar module was approaching the surface too fast and had overshot its intended landing site. Now the computer was guiding them towards a massive, football stadium-sized crater surrounded by a field of car-sized boulders. With the lunar module almost out of fuel, Armstrong took manual control. Mission Control could only watch. The landing rested on Armstrong's piloting skills.
60 seconds. Lights on. 4 forward, drift to the right a little. Down a half. 30 seconds. Forward drift. Contact light. Tranquility Base here. The Eagle has landed.
As around 600 million people watched from Earth, Armstrong took his first steps on the lunar surface.
It's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
The precisely choreographed moonwalk had taken 2 years to plan. For 2 hours and 40 minutes, Armstrong and Aldrin gathered rock samples, set up scientific experiments, and took photographs. Apollo 11 crew returned home as heroes. Their names now amongst those of the greatest explorers in history.
Yep, Buzz Aldrin said, "We feel like this stands as a symbol of the instantaneable I feel like I'm saying that wrong, curiosity of all mankind to explore the unknown."
Now that President Kennedy's goal had been accomplished, was there any point in returning to the moon? What was left for the Apollo program to achieve? The new mission would be science. The moon's origins remained a mystery. Where did it come from? Could its scarred surface tell the story of the early solar system? And in turn, help us understand the origins of our own world? But although NASA now possessed the knowledge and technology to land on the moon, it would soon receive a powerful reminder of the dangers of spaceflight.
We got more than a problem.
So I guess we're gonna see that in the next episode. It might be another part, question mark. But yeah, if it's not another part, then I guess it's the final, and I guess I'll be making a playlist of this. But yeah, talk to you guys in the next video. Sorry for the rant again. I just really had to rant about that because I hate that type of performative activism where you don't think about what you're actually fighting for, because you realize that this wouldn't be the place that you should fight for what you're doing. It actually does irritate me a lot, and it annoys me, as you can see. So yeah, but talk to you guys in the next video, and yeah, subscribe to the channel. Want to get 1,000 subscribers by my birthday, September 13th, and yeah, talk to you guys in the next video. Peace.